welcome back to Strip to the Soul, where we talk all things inner work, self-love, and everything it means to be a woman in today's world. And yeah, it's a lot. Sometimes it's a lot, and that's why I'm so grateful to be able to share what I know and also just be able to connect. So I just wanted to say thank you so much for being here, because today I want to talk about something that I briefly touched on 2 episodes ago, which was about getting your glow back. And this is close to my heart because it is something that has completely changed the game and transformed my life. And that is romanticizing every day, like romanticizing your life. And I'm talking about how you can take those seemingly small, mundane moments, like going and getting a coffee in the morning, your walk to the grocery store, the quiet moments before bed, and actually turn them into something magical. It's about romanticizing your life for me. It's about creating a life that feels like a movie, like extraordinary, like even in the ordinary. And let me tell you, this is more than just a feel-good kind of concept, and it's not just manifesting your life. It's a way of truly living that has helped me navigate some of the toughest chapters of my life thus far. Hence why I even, wanted to make a course on it, because embodying your highest self and aligning with that version of you became like the catalyst for my growth. And it truly transformed the way that I live. And I want to help, you do that and share what I know. So I want to unpack how you can infuse this happiness and beauty and intention into your daily routine. No matter where you are in your life, you could be in the worst financial position, you could be heartbroken, whatever it is. And always in true Jade fashion, it will probably get a little bit vulnerable and personal. But I want to share some practical tips as I do, and a little bit of inspiration as well, because sometimes we do need it. So let's dive into things. So I remember there was a time in my life that I truly did not see the magic in anything. I had just walked away from my life in London, and it was a decision I know I made from a soul level, but it did leave me feeling completely untethered, to say the least. I was living in survival mode. Like if I was in survival mode in London, this was like next level, like primal survival mode. I was so disconnected from myself, from my body, but also even further than that, I was so disconnected from the world and beauty around me. I was disconnected from life. And it was one day I was, sitting in my apartment in London, and I felt so unsure of my place in the world. I didn't really know who I was, and I didn't have a full sense of direction. I was just grasping at things that were kind of working and that I thought I wanted, or what other people were doing. And I just had this moment where I was like, I cannot do this anymore. I had spent so much of my life, waiting for, a break. And, this can be the relationship, the job, whatever it is that's going to change your life. But life doesn't wait for us to be ready, because life is happening right now in this very moment. And it was that day, I remember I was looking out the window. I couldn't even go to the gym because it was raining so bad outside. And I just made this decision that I was going to romanticize my life. And I started to begin to try and find beauty in the small little moments and details. So I started getting fairy lights and, making my room look pretty. I was getting flowers, and I started to light nice candles when I was drinking my coffee in the morning. And I began to journal and took in the feeling of what life could be as I started to let my pen flow and manifest this dream life in front of me, even though I had no idea what the word manifestation meant at the time. I remember I would just walk to the corner shop around down the street, and I started to take in the world for the first time and pay attention to how the sunlight almost came through the trees. And I would look up into these big apartments blocks in London, and I would look into the people who lived beyond those small little rows of windows, and I start to look for the small glimmers all around me. And this tiny act that I started taking on of romanticizing my life became a ritual, because it really got me out of a dark place. And over time, these rituals began to heal me. And it helped me as I obviously moved to Bali and followed that soul's calling. But I remember being in London and I just said, like, I'm so unhappy and I need to somehow create my own happiness in the place I am before I get to that next place, because I wasn't sure of what that was. And so it was just in these like little moments every day. And I look back now and I could see how I was just trying to make my world that little bit more special. And romanticizing your life isn't about, pretending that everything is perfect. It's, for me, about finding the beauty in what is, like what you have right now, because life isn't perfect. Life is hard, and it doesn't one day magically get easier. Of course, things can happen. Maybe you do find the relationship in your life transforms, or, you make some money, whatever it is. But there is these constant struggles, or these things that we face, that, our own inner world, and we're constantly evolving. And as we do, we are also experiencing life. And so it's, how can we, be the creator of our own reality? And you start in, taking that small step in those repetitive moments of your day. So the things that you do habitually or ritually, you take those moments and you start to romanticize them, because those moments are the foundations of your day. They're kind of like the pillars, right? And especially if you're in a space and place that maybe you're not loving your life, there are certain things you do every day. Maybe it is the walk to the gym, or maybe it's when you're driving, you put on your favorite music, you lift your spirits, you put on a podcast, you're at home, maybe you're working. How do you make your environment feel like special? So I would start with intention, and every morning ask yourself this question: how do I want to feel today? Like, as soon as you wake up, or maybe you write it down and stick it on your mirror, somewhere where you can remind yourself, because I know I'm not perfect, I don't remember all the time, but when you can visually see something and actually check in with yourself, you're starting an inner dialogue, and you start to connect with your soul and your body on how do you want to feel today. And this isn't not what you want to accomplish or what you want to do. This is how you want to feel. And firstly, this is extremely feminine. I like to say men think, women feel. We are a little bit more intuitive versus just logical. And for me, I often come back to feelings like peace or joy or abundant. And once you know how you want to feel, you can begin to identify and outline choices that align with that intention, and then do them and also embody that energy. So actually, I have a funny story. When my friend and I went to India, we decided that we were just going to be abundant. Like, we were just going to have this abundance kind of energy. And we walked into a hotel, and never in my life have I been upgraded for anything in terms of a hotel or, an airline. I'm still waiting for that business class upgrade. But, we walked into that hotel and we had decided in the morning that we are going to be abundant today. And we walked in, we got upgraded to the fanciest suite, this like $2,000 a night suite instead of a $200 room. And it was the most lavish experience. And then when we were out, people were giving us gifts. I'm not even joking. Like, someone gifted us jewels, like jewels from India. Then I was gifted a pashmina scarf from someone else. It was crazy. We were just living this very like opulent energy. And I do believe it's because in that morning we decided we were going to be abundant. And another example, when I was rebuilding my life, I started my mornings with music and a journal and a cup of coffee. And I remember sitting in my London flat, and it wasn't much. I wasn't going out and buying a fancy coffee. I was making it myself in, a little mug with a kettle. And, it was what it was. But I started to set the tone for my day. I didn't wait for, the next best thing. I took responsibility. And it reminded me that I deserve moments of stillness with myself, and I deserved to have nice things and feel good within myself, even when life did feel a little bit chaotic. And this was at the time where I was packing up my flat in London. I was coming to Bali. I didn't know if I was going to go back to London. I didn't know what my relationship was looking like anymore. It was a mess. My life was a big mess and literally in boxes, and it was chaos around me. And as I was sat in an empty flat that had been completely packed up, I sat on the table, which was like the only furniture left, and I would sit with my coffee and just take in that moment with myself. So, your space and your environment, we aren't always in control of everything, but what we can control has a huge impact on how you feel. And trust me, you don't need to have a Pinterest perfect home to make this work. Like I said, I remember when I was living in this tiny ex-council flat in London, right when I moved there, I didn't have the luxury of a beautiful space, but I made what I had mine. I was living like in this tiny room, and I would just make it look pretty and cute. I got like pink bed sheets and like a candle that just smelled really nice, and I put up these like fake little flowers that I probably got for a couple of pounds, and I put books out on display that inspired me, and some nice clothes that I did have on this little rack. And I didn't have much, but what I had, I made sure that I could see it and I appreciated it, and I was like proud of what I was building for myself. So although it looked nothing like a Pinterest board or this picture perfect life, it was me doing the best I could with what I had. So one thing that you can ask yourself is, what can you do to make your space feel more like you, like a reflection of this highest version of you? Maybe it's adding more plants or flowers, or these nice candles that you can get yourself, or maybe you just have a really cutesy mug that you love or you've made, and you get happy and excited when you sit and you drink your coffee, whatever it is, because these small changes will make your space feel like yours, and it will feel like a sanctuary as well. So one thing I will say, as I said, it's not always perfect. It's not always rainbows and butterflies. Life isn't always beautiful as such. Of course, it's a beautiful thing to be alive, but it's not always beautiful, and it's not always romantic at times. There was days where I was drowning in heartbreak and financial struggles, and I was going through these grueling plant medicine ceremonies that left me feeling so raw and exposed. And I was still choosing, despite everything I was going through, to see the beauty in life. And it's funny because people would often reflect that back at me, like, oh, you're so positive, you're so happy. And I'm like, that's because I choose that for myself. And romanticizing your life doesn't mean bypassing the hard stuff or pretending it doesn't exist. It's holding space for everything. So it's not being so in the heartbreak and the stress that you completely neglect the beauty of life. And then it's also not sitting with those hard things and pretending they don't exist. And I remember actually thinking about it, one particularly hard day, I was processing a heartbreak that shattered me, right? And I remember crying in my bed. I was sobbing and just like praying to God just to like take this pain away. And still in that moment, I remember just like choosing to like change the channel and, accept what was, and also not let it take over me. And I lit a candle and I let myself cry, and I put on some music, and I just allowed myself to feel the pain, but in a really beautiful way, while still, reminding myself of the beauty of what is. And maybe that's you going down to the park or the beach. I know I've gone and processed many emotions down on the beach, but you do it in a space and a place that inspires you and helps you lift up whatever you're going through as well. So I want to say it's okay. And also, romanticizing your life will change your life, because even the hard moments can hold beauty. And it is in the way that you nurture yourself through them, and the way that you honor your emotions instead of running from them. So I want to also give you some practical tips, because it's important as well to not only like hear it, but also know how to action it. So first, elevate your routine, like I said. So those daily tasks, making coffee, getting dressed, doing your skincare. How can you elevate these moments? So maybe it's frothing your milk, getting a little milk frother from like Amazon or whatever, for that cafe feel, or putting on your perfume, or like paying attention, playing your favorite song. Or I love to like wash on my face and like pretend like I'm at the spa. So elevate your routine would be number one. Number two, slow down, because we live in such a fast-paced world, and slowing down is, a radical act of self-love. Instead of rushing through your to-do list, try doing one thing like intentionally, rather than just like going to the gym, working out, then go and eating, grabbing the food. Like, slow down. Focus on, what you're eating. Focus on the sounds around you. Like, take it in and take a moment to actually see beyond just your mind. Number three is celebrate small wins. So one of the biggest lessons I've learned thus far in life is that, this happiness that we all seek and this joy, it doesn't come from the big milestones. It is in the little small moments in life and those little victories. So these things like, did you drink enough water? Celebrate that. Did you go for a walk? Celebrate that. Because life is made up of these small, seemingly insignificant moments, and they deserve to be acknowledged, and then they will compound and make you feel better in the long run. I always say, when you begin to shift your current reality to your highest self, this is where the magic really will happen for you. And you will start to see your life in the best way possible. And then begin to romanticize it, because you deserve to create more beautiful experiences in your life. And this is done by connecting with your highest self. And you're in ways reminding yourself that you are worthy of beautiful, abundant, magical things in life. And that, you have to see that, and you have to own that for yourself, and you have to really claim that for yourself, because if you don't feel worthy of it, you're never going to actually believe that you're deserving and actually invite more of that in your life. So romanticizing your life is an act of rebellion, truly, in a world that tells us to always look out for the next big thing. And I feel like it's a declaration to yourself and to your life that right now it's enough to celebrate and appreciate, and you're only making it better. So if this resonates with you, I do dive deeper in my course, Romanticize Your Life. I want you to start, identifying and embodying your highest self. So I talk about, setting soul-aligned goals and overcoming these fears and this lack of self-worth that stops you celebrating your life how it is. So my challenge to you is this one: find the moment in today and make it magical. Start small and then go through those practical steps I said about elevating your routine, slowing down, and then celebrating those small wins. But just start small with something you do every day, and then tomorrow do something else, and the next day do something else. Even recognizing that listening to this episode today is, you romanticizing your life. So thank you for that. And thank you for spending this time with me and for showing up for yourself and taking time for you to listen to this. And hopefully you've taken something from it. So if you have, and this episode has resonated with you, I would love for you to share it with someone who might need a little motivation, a little inspiration. And I would love, if you did enjoy it, to subscribe to the podcast and maybe even leave it a review, because your support means the world to me. So until next time, keep finding the magic in every day, keep showing up for yourself, please, and keep romanticizing your life. Mwah.